What is this? This was weeks ago. Why would they? Is that now a thing?
Hundreds of people at an anti-lockdown protest stormed the steps of Germany's parliament.
When you okay, we're getting political here for a second. I'm gonna react to this, man. Vice is dumb. I want every viewer to understand these people here. They don't represent us, man. They're idiots. Every real German shits on these people, thinks they're idiots. I hope so, at least. Maybe I'm just wrong, but most of us think that these guys are fucking idiots, bro.
Building the Reichstag.
It's kind of sad though, bro, that all these flags, man, are taking almost took this building, this historical building, man.
In a group of COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers, fascists were waving the Imperial German.
Like, how can you? Jesus fuck, man. How the fuck is that shit allowed, man? That's insane, man. That's
waving the Imperial.
I mean, there's obviously a message there, obviously, bro.
German flag in place of the banned swastika. For the country that spawned the Nazis, these scenes highlighted the dangers of the volatile, conspiracy-addled far-right fringe that's grown over the last decade.
Wollt ihr die totale Pharma-Diktatur?
Digga, eh. I want to say though, this looks very serious, man, but in Germany we laugh about these people. Like, this guy is a huge joke in Germany, man. Like, he used to be a vegan cook, and now he's the leader of the anti-corona movement in Germany. And there's a documentary about him, and he's just completely fucking... He's also, yeah, German, yeah.
From QAnon to the Reichsbürgers, a far-right group which sees itself at war with the state, conspiracy theories have got a hold on Germany.
Like, he sounds so serious, like Germany's about to flip and invade Poland, man. Very interesting. Germans, Jan Böhmermann made a huge thing on this guy, right? Very dangerous individual. There's some very dangerous individuals in Germany, man. That's for sure. The question is always, how strong are they yet?
My name's Tim Hume, and I cover the rise of the far right in Europe. It's a job that's taken me a lot to Germany for my reporting for Vice. These events in Berlin were in...
Yeah, the German army, in the last years, the German army lost thousands and thousands of ammunition crates. They're all gone. Nobody knows where they are. But it seems like that the German army is a bit right-wing, and they actually make deals and stuff with these revolutionary right-wing people, and they're arming themselves and shit. And I know what that they're planning a day X or something where they take weapons and take over Germany and shit. But it's like a bunch of fucking idiots, you know.
Kirschbaum, a leading figure in the country's thriving QAnon scene. Tamara called on the...
Dude, nowadays the Fourth Reich is gonna have Rastafaris, man.
Protesters to swarm the steps of the right.
It must be so awkward being at a corona denier demonstration, man. You're like a Nazi, you're like, oh, touch that, and right next to you is like, oh, Frieden, Alter. Like, what the fuck? What kind of mix is that, bro?
President Trump, dass wir den Weltfrieden wollen.
Like, that's what I always feel like. If this is the leaders of your movement, I always said this. I hope I'm not naive with this. Look, how do I say this? When you look at the Third Reich and the rise of the Nazis, these fuckers had some dangerous leader. Hitler and all the others, they could talk. They could rally people. They could make a lot of people vote for them. They were fucking dangerous, man. And what I always say is, thank you, Muro, orators, yeah, thank you, Muro. What I always say is, I'm not afraid of a right-wing movement in Germany until they have a dangerous leader. If a vegan cook and this woman is the leader of your movement, I'm not scared yet. There's a great scene in a movie where they go to the leaders of the NPD, which is the Nazi part of Germany. They're like legit fucking Nazis. And they go to their headquarters. And the guys in the party are the biggest. They're like her four players. They're fat. They're ugly as hell. They're like, oh, we need the Third Reich back. And if you see these fucking people, as long as they are the leaders, I'm like not scared. But one day, if the right-wing movement has like a young man, good looking, he has a suit, and he's like, kids, we have to talk. That's like, oh shit, oh, time to go to America, bro. That's what I will. But as long as this is the leader, so I'm like, okay, man.
Whipping the crowd into a frenzy by saying
idiots.
Donald Trump was in Berlin, and that for some reason this meant that their movement had won. In Germany, the American Q conspiracy theory has gained a huge following, more than in any non-English speaking country.
This march in Berlin is mostly against coronavirus restrictions, but there are a lot of...
Makes me fucking sad to see this, man. And something I'm scared of is the future. It looks like at the moment in Germany that something historical might happen in Germany soon, which is that the Green Party might win. The Green Party might fucking take over Germany. And what do you think these people are going to do? You think they're just going to take it? I think that's scary, man.
QAnon supporters here.
QAnon wasn't the only far-right conspiracy theory movement at the Reichstag that day.
So when QAnon arrived in Germany, it was also spread by people from the Reichsbürger movement. I mean, they share the same enemies, it's democracy.
Yeah, and a big problem, I think you guys have probably the same in your country, is that the internet connects people, meaning since the history of the human race, there was always idiots, right? One guy is a flat earther. One guy believes we should bring fascism back. One guy is a communist. One guy is a pedophile, blah, 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 blah. And they're sitting in their own home. They're like, oh, I can't show my true self. But now there's this new thing. Oh, wait, there's other pedophiles, there's other communists, there's other idiots like me, and then they connect each other, and then they think, oh man, I'm not alone, bro. Think about Vateri, and they think they're more powerful, and they think they have... It's fucking scary, bro.
Reichsbürger, or citizen of the Reich, is an umbrella...
I had to handle Reichsbürger in my real life. Reichsbürger are people, they're fucking mental, man. They're mental. They're also very dangerous. They actually kill people in Germany nowadays. They're armed. They believe that Germany is still occupied. They believe that Germany never had a peace contract. They believe we don't have a constitution, and we still are the German Reich. So they always say, we are the Reich. There is no democracy. No. We need the Kaiser back. And they don't accept the state. And when I was in law school, I was working at an office for 1 month. Public office, and the lady was like, I have no jobs for you. And then it happened one day. She said, I have a job for you, Tommy. And she gave me a big thing like this, a big fucking thing, bro. So in the end, what happened is this person had no job, and he got 400 euros from the state, and he didn't fulfill his duties like showing certain documents or showing a legal ID. So we had the right to cut his money by 25%. So he got 400 minus 25 is like less than 400, right? So I had to write the guy, hey, listen, you fucker, you're not listening to the government for years, we're gonna cut your money. 300, yeah. So this guy, this is insane. Back then, and this is very serious, back then we were laughing about it, but now all the Germans know these guys are killing people. They're going out with guns, man, and shit, and killing people. And he wrote a huge letter. And I'm sitting there, right? I'm 20 years old, I'm a law student, and I have this big piece of paper, and I open it, and it's a manifesto. 10 pages. So German Reich does still exist. We live in a state of occupation by our Western enemies. I will not accept you cutting my money because you are not the state. And she's like, Tommy, you study law, right? Text him back. And I'm sitting there, and I have to literally get books from the law department and be like, I have to explain to him why the German Reich. And it was fun because I had nothing to do. I was an intern and I had no real job. So I'm sitting there all day with my law book, and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna destroy you. And I'm writing this fucking essay why this is all legal and shit. And I sent it to him, man. I never got anything back because then I left, man, but that was kind of fun. That guy would have probably killed me. There's actually a story where a guy came to the office and shot the woman, man, because of shit like this. Fucking crazy. And we were laughing about it, but I think these people are very dangerous.
For a uniquely German strain
of
gun-hoarding far-right conspiracy theorists. They say the modern German state is illegitimate, a puppet regime established by foreign occupying powers at the end of World War II to exploit the Germans. Its 19,000 hardcore followers, mostly middle-aged, male and white, believe that the pre-war German Empire, or Reich, still exists, and that they're its rightful representatives. Some declare their properties to be sovereign republics.
Yes, I remember now. There's always a meaning behind this. The meaning why they do this is money. It's money. They always they never pay certain stuff because they think you're not the state and stuff, and they always, that's why they do it. They don't want to pay, man. I remember,
issuing their own passports or currencies and refusing to pay taxes.
That's what it all comes down to. Fucking money.
Are certainly some people who are disappointed and dissatisfied with their economic status, and they look for scapegoats.
As always, that's what it is. It's failed people, lost souls that look for scapegoats. That's what all these risings in the entire human history always have been made of, man.
Almost
They're
like a religious cult that sucks in and radicalizes.
The belief that there's no official state comes often from a situation of poverty.
So this is where I come from, right there, man. Right there, I used to live there.
The oppression by the government, they lose their job, have no perspective in their lives, and so they turn to the belief that they are not responsible for it.
These days, one of the key figures in the scene is Nikolai Nerling, a former prime...
That guy is a big thing. It's very German. I was watching a documentary about him. This guy is super fucking dangerous. Super dangerous, man.
Primary school teacher who was one of the protesters on the Reichstag steps that day. He's gained
that guy
a large
wants a legit Nazi Germany back, man. He's very clever. I was just talking about characters. That's one of the characters where you gotta be a bit fucking careful, man. That guy isn't a complete retard.
Documenting
he has like YouTube channel where he always
pushing his racist ideology. Yeah. His gateway into the world of conspiracy theories had been YouTube videos about Sandy Hook, about 9/11. And then he kind of went down the rabbit hole. It led him to explicitly far-right conspiracy theories.
You can go so lost in this shit, man. I mean, I have 3K viewers right now. There's probably one guy watching who's like, Tommy, it's all real, you idiot! Are you dumb, Tommy? Bill Gates wants to kill us, bro. Fuck, man.
He's notorious for his constant
only
provocations.
One guy? Well, I'm a Hoi Force streamer. It's probably 5,000 guys.
Including
yeah,
frequently questioning the history of the Holocaust. He's aligned himself with Holocaust deniers.
Dude, they're instantly fucking to prison, man. My issue with Germany is always that the government has to step up more, man. You have to hunt these people. One misstep, denying the Holocaust is legit a crime in Germany. You go to fucking prison, man. One misstep, you fuck this guy up. A big problem, though, sir, this is where it gets scary a bit. There's a lot of studies and a lot of proof that show that the government apparatus is also very right-wing. There's studies that show the army, the police, the Verfassungsschutz, which is our internal CIA, FBI thingy. They're very, very right-wingish in a way, very right-wingish. The police just stopped me 2 days ago. They stopped me, and I did a lot of mistakes. I didn't wear a mask and stuff. And they looked into the car, and they saw I was driving Lisa's grandma around. And they looked at the white grandma, and they're like, oh, you can go. It was so awkward, man. It's like, oh, you can go. I was like, if I was black, would they have fucked me more, man? It was really awkward. And where were we?
And he wants them.
Yeah, the state has to. The laziness of corrupt politicians can ultimately lead to the rise of stuff like not this, but this right-wing extremism.
With a sign reading, the history
and
of
the government has to fucking step it up, man.
Full of lies.
They use conspiracy theories.
No, I was stopped by the police. It's very. I'm very what's the word? I'm very what's the word? Shame. What's the word? When you feel bad that you did something. What's the word? Ashamed. So I'm driving Lisa and Lisa's grandma home. We were at a family meeting. I'm driving with my car, and behind me, it's evening, it's dark, and behind me is the police. I'm like, oh, I'm cool. Suddenly the police are like, so the police is stopping me. After all these years, I'm used to it. I'm not going to nurse anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't do anything. I drive, and then I was very ashamed because I'm like a toxic man. So I'm driving into a road, and there's no parking spot. I drive to the next road, and for like 2 minutes, I'm driving around like a drunk guy, and the police behind me because I didn't find anywhere to stop. And he's like, stop! Stop! And he just jogs up to me. What is the first thing you do when the police does this? I'm like, well, stopping. Then why don't you stop and drive around like this? I'm like, sir, I didn't want to fucking do shit. And he's like, so sir, what's the problem? And I'm like, well, you're gonna tell me. You're driving without lights on. I'm like, what? I'm driving without lights on? And I was driving without lights in the dark. I'm a complete fucking nut job. I'm like, oh, boop. Oh, what the fuck? I was so ashamed. And he looks at, and he's like, to the grandma, hello miss, you have to wear a mask, it's 100 euros, but I will let you go. And then they were very, very nice. Bro, I didn't turn my lights on and shit. I was driving. I was so ashamed. And Lisa shit to me and told me you suck at driving. I was very ashamed, man, very ashamed. But the police was super nice. It's really awkward. I had like 10 times in my life I was with the police, like because stopping me or something. And every time I felt like, I don't know if I'm wrong here though, it sounds weird, but every time I showed that I'm a true German. Like, I spoke the accent. I was like, yeah, police is very important, sir. Ah, you're totally right. Yeah, out there are real criminals, yeah. And the police would always be like, yes, sir, you're right. You can go, sir. They would always be really nice if you, thank you, literally, Jesus Christ. It's like hard to explain. In the first minute, they're like, sir, the fuck are you doing? And then you're like, and then you go on their level. You're like, brother, I feel the same. Ja, ist Deutschland, Junge. And suddenly they're like, oh yeah, he's our brother. He can go. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Does any white guy in chat feel that? The police stops you and you kind of just, I'm a white guy like you, what's up? And they're like super fucking nice to you, bro. And I truly wondered when they were so nice to us, if I would have been an Arabian. I don't know the answer to it. I'm not trying to take a stance here. But if I would have been black, Arabian, whatever, would they have acted differently? I think they would still have been nice, but a bit less. I don't know. I don't know. In America, 100%, right? If you're black and you get on the wrong police officer, you're in trouble, bro. Depends on the situation. Yeah, I think in the end you show respect to these guys and you get it back, but what if you show respect and they're still hardcore? Well, no, a different topic. But yeah, I was stopped by the police because I was driving without a fucking light. I felt very ashamed, man. I felt like, because all day long I'm driving around with sunglasses. Oh, I'm so cool. And then, sir, where's your lights, you fucking trash driver? I was like really ashamed.
Because it's easier to spread hate through them. If you are openly racist, many people will object. But if it's like embedded in this conspiracy theory, then it's much harder.
If these lot of members in the police
people are believing.
Do I want to go down this road? Oh, I don't want to go down this road, do I? There's something I want to say, but that could be very wrong. I think it's in an open society, you should talk about this. Oh, I probably shouldn't do it. Oh, fuck. Everything I say is scientific. I'm totally against it. I'm a hardcore left-wing Twitch admin. It's just something that we as society in the West have to look at. Many times in my life, I got some certain insight. Where do I start? I would very often have fights in the supermarket. Very often. You know, fighting junkies that were stealing. And I would say 50% of them were foreigners. Russians or Arabians. 50% Germans. Wasn't just the foreigners. Oftentimes, I would find myself in a police car where they will ask me, oh, what did he do, blah, blah, blah. And very often, there was a kind of speech by the police that was anti-foreigner, in a way. AKA, I had a fight with the Russian guy, for example, and they said, tell us your story. And I was like, the Russian guy had been, and the police like, oh, the Russians again, oh, these fucks. Something like that. Something else. Just 3 weeks ago. Yeah, Marconi. But here's a point I want to make. Yeah. Police is more right-wing in general everywhere. Here's a point I want to make to maybe explore. I have to be so careful. I'm so totally against this. I want us to stop this, Twitch admin. I want to talk about it though. 2 more stories. 3 weeks ago, I had teeth cleaning, and I always connect very well with these persons that do that. She's cleaning my teeth, and we talk about everything. We talk about the world, blah blah blah. Thank you, Ollie. And her husband was he's a policeman. The dentist lady, she only cleans. She's not a dentist. She only does the cleaning. Her husband is a policeman, and we talk about police and stuff like that. And she says something. She was like this East German girl who's like Germany, you know. And she says the reason why my husband has a problem with the Arabs, that's what she said, is because he sees when he goes to a scene where something bad happened, he sees this type of culture often, which then leads to him having this feeling. aka, in the end, the point that is being made by these people is that police forces in the world oftentimes are exposed to criminality from certain cultural grounds and minorities, and thus create more apathy, aka we could even say hate, against these cultures, which then leads to police forces, just like Germany, the proof is there, being generally more right-wing. Many police people I've met in my life got into this belief because they see different stuff. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's great. I'm saying it's a thing, and we should find and explore that, what we could change about that. Like, I remember when George Floyd happened, I have this friend in my friend circle, he's very edgy. He's very fucking edgy, man. Very edgy. And I don't agree with him. But he said, if an American, and he's totally wrong. Oh God, what am I doing here? I'm against this. I'm against this Twitch admin. It's actually crazy I have to be so afraid here, even though I'm your side. He said, an American police officer always encounters black people in a criminal background because he's a police officer. If he sees a black in his family, his friend circle, everybody's white. When he sees a black person, it's mostly because something bad happened. He's a police officer. He gets called somewhere, robbery, whatever, and then subsequently develops this racist idea against this cultural group. That is probably a thing in human minds that should be explored and that should be looked into and fixed. Know what I mean? They're not, obviously. That is a very dangerous thing. Oftentimes in my life, we so often had police in the office, in the supermarket, and they would always be much more hard to the foreigners. They would always be, if it's a German, they would always be nicer, man. And I think it's not okay, it's not clever to just call them racist and idiots and they should lose their job. I think we should take this problem by the root, by the source, think where it comes from, and put a lever there to help this problem. Anyway, yeah. They probably only see the bad side of a culture. Exactly. And yeah, something would have to happen about that. You know, I think this is just my take on how racism develops in the executive, like the police. Like, of their own culture, white culture, they see their parents, their family, everything is good. But in their workplace, they see a lot of the bad side of certain cultures, which is not okay. Twitch admin, once again, I'm with you here. This is a big problem. We should fix it. Fuck, it's so scary that I'm even scared talking about this, even though I'm totally on the left-wing side here. So awkward.
The European migration crisis of 2015 electrified Germany's far right.
Yeah.
More than 20,000
like all of Europe, right? All of Europe, man.
Arriving in Germany.
I believe to this day, if the refugee crisis wouldn't have happened at that time, Brexit would have never gone through.
In the past 3 days,
most
Chancellor
Brexit voters voted because they're afraid
Germany
of refugees.
is ready to take in 800,000 people this year.
The German government opened the country's borders to asylum seekers, most from Muslim countries. That decision sparked a backlash that turned an anti-immigrant party into...
That's the problem. That's why Europe is afraid of Erdogan. If he releases the refugees into Europe, the politicians know that the right-wingers are getting even more strong. It's a very hard situation for politicians, man. What the fuck do you do, man? Right? You want to be a human... Like, this is the reality of life. You want to be a humanitarian. You want to let refugees in and help them. But if you do it, you lose votes and people vote for the right-wingers. It's such a circle of... It's a devil's circle. It's so fucking...
German parliament.
What the fuck do you do, man?
Unleashed a large and often violent anti-Islam protest movement.
Dude, acts like a man and puts something like this in his lips. What the fuck? Look, man. Who's the girl in this relationship, huh? Fucking hell.
And triggered a new wave of violent extremism.
A deadly terror attack in a town east of Frankfurt.
Heavily armed attack.
That I was literally in the street today.
Saying that it's true. The reason foreigners commit crimes is because
of my home city, man.
Government oppresses them economically and the people oppress them socially. As an Arab, I can confidently say there is no culture of crime, and yes, it's racist.
The people in chat saying that it's true. The reason foreigners commit crimes is because the government oppresses them economically and the people oppress them socially. As an Arab, I can confidently say there's no culture of crime, and yes, it's racist. I agree with you. But always, I'm a centrist. You need to find the middle ground, the way of truth and honesty. saying there's completely no culture of crime is wrong. Like, for example, I was very interested in organized crime. I wanted to become a state lawyer for organized crime. Eastern culture, Middle Eastern culture has completely flooded Germany and has destroyed all German mafia. There's no German mafia left, man. The brutality of East Europeans and Middle Eastern organized crime has completely taken over Germany, man, in a sweep, man. And it's mostly because of their brutality, man. They will completely just not fuck around, man. And saying that there's, that it only comes from the government and social suppression would also be wrong. I fully agree with you, it's a big part. But saying it's fully that, I don't believe so. In the end, a lot of people have choices, man. I fully agree, though, that if you go to a foreign country and everybody shits on you, the government, the people, that you get mad and you're looking for a job. And I fucking fully get that. It's like Italians going to America back then, making the mafia there, man. I fucking get it.
Ranting about Jews, tried to force his way into a synagogue in the eastern city of Halle.
Against this backdrop of rising right-wing extremism in Germany.
Were we looking at history? Fuck.
Suddenly the paranoid, gun-hoarding, anti-government Reichsbürgers don't seem so harmless after all. What's even more of a worry is that secret Reichsbürger cells are being uncovered in the police and the military.
And that's where it gets actually fucking scary, man. That's where and they have all the weapons in Germany. Jesus Christ, it's 2021 and we see this right here, man. It's like it's fucking 1930 again. Scary, scary. But still, I want everyone to know, man, I live in Germany. The majority of Germans is very much against it. 80%, man. 70, 80% easy.
Of far-right extremism among soldiers, police officers.
But I am afraid, and quote me on this in the next 10 years, the rise of the Greens in Europe, and especially the Greens maybe winning the German election, is going to divide us even more. A lot of conservatives that are not right-wingers, just conservatives, will not feel home anywhere anymore. They don't feel home at their government, Green. They don't feel home at the CDU anymore because they're not conservative enough anymore. So they only find one home, and that's right-wing AfD.
And it's going to split Germany even more. Have been documented over the past 3 years.
Sucks, bro. It's so stupid, though.
Given their access to weapons and specialist training.
I think people within the Reichsbürger movement perceive themselves as warriors for the German people and essentially for the good against the evil conspiracy that currently allegedly
Green
going
will never
on.
Win.
So this is what even motivates people from
Green is looking ultra strong. Do we have a latest Sonntagsfrage? Do we have a latest poll? This is from today. Green Party 24. The Green Party is historically now even with the leading party. Which means that this right here, these three, could make a coalition, which will then be, if you look middle, right wing, left, it will be a bit on the left. And all the people, conservative, where I always put myself, middle, right, not fucking right wing racists, just conservatives, will not have a home anymore, and they will feel very triggered.
The military and also from police forces, single individuals, to identify themselves with this whole Reichsbürger ideology.
In 2020, the pandemic and resulting lockdowns led to an explosion in conspiracy ideology. The pandemic has left people scared, shut in their homes with nothing to do, and turning to the internet.
And in the end, it all, I feel like, I don't know if I'm doing it too simple here. This all, human beings doing stuff like that, it all comes down to fear. It seems so much human behavior is based on fear. Fear that's so deep inside of us that we can't see and feel it. It's not the fear that you have in a dark room thinking there's a ghost. It's this fear of losing yourself, your economic status, your financial status. And this fear is leading you into absurdity, into communism, fascism, all this dumb shit, flat earth. It's fear that truly is fucking with people, I think. And you have to take the fear away from people. What do you think about Europe as one? Let's not go there right now. We're somewhere else here.
It's unlike anything we've known before. People who consider themselves ordinary Germans are suddenly marching alongside right-wing extremists.
You know that people who experience a lack of control are more likely to believe
Capri, 100%, yeah.
They're looking for answers.
You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. Oh, he's just quoting Eminem.
Science can't give yet, so they turn to hocus pocus and conspiracy theories and the myth.
Right wing is just and that's pretty much exposable, easy. Like the AfD, the right wing party in Germany, which is why I don't believe in them at all anymore. They just play with fears. every statement they make is just anti. Whatever the government does, we're against it. And they just catch all these votes. They don't have a real plan. It's just, oh, we're against it. Come to us. We're going to do better. And it's so sad that people run into this trap.
Explanations connect as a pipeline to far-right, especially anti-Semitic beliefs.
These ideologies tend to discriminate against minorities, being it Jews, who are allegedly...
Jesus fuck, Alter. You fucking idiot, Alter. Dude, I would love to ask this guy what he... Digga, ey. The Germans are so disconnected with their history, man. They're comparing this woman to Adolf Hitler, man. It's so fucking insane. And my opinion, my final opinion is always, people's lives are too easy. We live in a world nowadays, in the Western world, where everybody, this man here has a nice life. He has a house, a car, nice vacations. In the history of the human race, this guy is top 1% lives. And people have too much free time. They don't have real problems anymore, so they come up with shit like this.
Conspiracy or other individuals who are supposed to pull the strings behind the curtain.
These conspiracy beliefs are linked to distrust and prejudice against those on top, people or groups that are perceived as powerful, and this leads to action. We know that from different kind of studies.
I mean, what is actually a corona protest in
The
Germany?
eggshells brew, this is lame. You need to react to Jörg, he has good videos on centrism. Anyway, people lose faith in weak politicians and elect people like Palatine. Speaking of a new HOI4 mod coming out tomorrow called Palpatine's Gambit, check it out.
What a weird way to fucking self-advertisement. Thank you for the $7 and thank you, going crazy. You know what the problem is with corona deniers? In the end, they're all just football hooligans and they can't watch football right now. Look at this. This is the Südkurve of Borussia Dortmund. They just can't go to the stadium right now. That's why they're doing this. Bring back football, Brot und Spiele, bread and games. Rome, right? Bring them back football, go back to the stadium, they're all gonna shut the fuck up.
Refusal of democratic...
Look, that is all this right here is an exact snapshot from any German football fan curve, man.
Violence, anti-Semitism.
Just give them back football, bro.
Can lead to action.
Far-right movements like that have always transformed themselves. And at first it was mass immigration in the so-called asylum crisis. And after that, when...
And that's, again, my fear. Every time there's a crisis, these idiots get stronger, right? Corona. And I think that the Green Party winning German election is going to
Corona stops, even more. And there will be other crises. For instance, climate change. So we cannot...
And how scary is that, right? Climate change is real. It's the biggest threat to us. And we're all wasting time on these dumb motherfuckers, man.
Fight the far right just by waiting for the end of Corona. We have to take countermeasures. We have to strengthen counter narratives against conspiracy theory, against anti-Semitism, against racism and far right ideology.
The fear is that for the strongest believers, these conspiracy theories will exert an almost religious hold on them and will leave them beyond the reach of reason or logic or family or friends. Deprogramming them will be a huge challenge.
It's a matter of belief, and you can't convince a believer of anything because this belief is not based on facts. It's based on a deep-seated need to believe. And this is what we must understand to be able to help.
Interesting shit, man. Interesting shit. Interesting shit. Huh. Well, most of their adherents are white. I mean, it's in the middle of Europe. That goes without saying for virtually any... I always feel like the YouTube comments are very right-wing. Attention all European art schools. Do not decline any applications. Oh, God. Germany, third time's the charm. Europe, here we go again. Oh, God. I think the documentary is a bit biased, though. This documentary acts like, oh, Germany's about to... It's not that big in Germany, man. It's just the loud idiots, man. It's a bit wrong in that way. Yeah. Well,